According to Muslim orthodoxy, numerology is considered a branch of kahana. But what is kahana? Well, Imam Yahya an-Nawawi rahimahullah, he defines kahana for us by quoting another leading scholar, that scholar being Al-Qadi Iyad al-Maliki rahimahullah. In quoting him, Imam an-Nawawi states from him the following. Al-Qadi Iyad al-Maliki rahimahullah states, quote, kahana has three forms among the Arabs. One of them is that the human being has an ally from the jinn with him that informs him of what stolen knowledge has been taken by listening to the news of what goes on in the skies and heavens. But this division is a false one, as ever since Allah sent our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this method of taking knowledge has been blocked. The second is that he is informed of what will happen, or what is taking place, or will take place in the farthest reaches of the earth, and what is concealed from the diviner, whether it be near or far. And the existence of this cannot be doubted or deemed impossible, although the Mu'tazila and some theologians negate these two particular points, considering them impossible. But it is not impossible, nor is it hard to imagine the existence of that particular issue. But indeed, those who inform the diviner, or those divined with, sometimes tell the truth and other times lie, and the prohibition of believing them and listening to them is general and clear. The third point is the astrologers and those who study the stars. And in this point, Allah has created for some of the people who practice it power, but their lies contained within it are greater and take more precedence than this art of divination. The one who does this science is called the Arraf, and the Arraf is the one who seeks information about the affairs and matters of different means and future portents that he claims to have knowledge of them by way of divining. And some of the people of this art assist one another in that by numerous means of divination, such as the use of the stars and numerous other means. And these things are all named to be kahana, and they are all the worst of the people in the revealed law. And it has been prohibited to believe in them and go to them. Close quote. This is taken from Sahih Muslim bi Sharh al-Nawawi, volume 14, pages 223 to 225. So what Qadi Iyad tells us, which is the quote taken from Imam Yahya an-Nawawi rahimahullah, is that kahana has three forms. One is the jinn that used to steal knowledge of certain events from the information of the skies, from the information contained within the skies and the heavens that was being discussed. But since the advent of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that way of taking knowledge has been blocked. The second way is that the actual jinn, or demons if you will, come to that particular person and inform them of information that is happening in faraway locations. So the diviner then appears omniscient or able to divine the future or events that are happening, although this information has only been reported to him by demons or other jinn. The third point is that there are astrologers and those who study the stars, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it some power. Now what Imam Qadi Iyad rahimahullah is actually referring to us here is that, like many sciences, numerology developed out of another science. Take this example. Astronomy, which is the study of the stars in finding out people's directions and as well as their location on Earth or in other places, is a valid science in the field, most of which we have seen or looked at in our physics books or other science textbooks. But astrology, which is the study of those in the belief that they have occult power and actually the ability to harm or benefit someone is a separate science that developed out of that. It was an occultic system that developed out of an originally legitimate system. Numerology is likewise the same way. Numerology actually spun off from mathematics and became a system where people believed they could divine fate or divine their harm or benefits that could be coming their way in the future or are coming their way by using certain numbers and combinations of numbers, which we will see later. So we have those 3 points. And then the Imam also mentioned the issue of the Arraf, and the Arraf was the one that seeks the information about the affairs and matters of future events by different means and future portents that they claim to have knowledge of. So these are people that claim to have knowledge of something, or they are seeking to have knowledge of that particular thing, and they use many different means. But the last statement is the most frightening that the Imam says, and it is that he says that all of these things can be called kahana, and those people, the Qadi says, are the worst of the people in the revealed law. He said they're the worst of them. So kahana can basically be referred to in a loose term as divining or fortune telling, and that is where numerology actually falls under it. Now it's interesting that also secular sources also put numerology under the same rubric as occultic. The Oxford English Dictionary defines numerology as, quote, divination by numbers, study of the occult meaning of numbers, close quote. This is taken from the Concise Oxford Dictionary, page 695. Therefore, if we look from the beginning, we can then see that divination by numbers is by its very definition occultic. Something that is purported to draw on powers outside the human experience. This is the main thing about numerology. Now the question always comes when we deal with the occult and occultic systems, what is the source that numerology derives from? We're always curious about where does this strange power come from, or this force, or this ability to harm or help or benefit. Where does this actual source, where does it originate from? As was the case when we spoke about magic and the harms that it contains within it, the same source powering magic is the same source that powers numerology. They are all occultic. And the occultic systems, powers, and methods of divination, their source is all from shaitan. Listen to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in Surah Al-An'am, the 6th surah, ayah 121. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ لِيُوحُونَ إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَائِهِمْ لَيُجَادِلُوكُمْ وَإِنَّ تَعْتُمُوهُمْ إِنَّكُمْ لَمُشْرِكُونَ. And indeed the shaitans, demons, give revelations to their allies, that they debate with you, and if you obey them, you are idol worshippers. Surah Al-An'am, the 6th surah, ayah 121. Now, we've then looked at that occultic things are the actual revelations of shaitan himself. There is pure revelation, pure truth, in which its source is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is He who has given the true revelation. But the counterfeit and false revelation emanates from none but shaitan himself and his minions that follow him and obey him. Keeping this in mind, we also need to think, however, occultic things have a tendency to branch out from originally legitimate sciences. As I said before, astrology branched off from astronomy, and numerology has also branched off from mathematics and numeracy.